A very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the Thursday edition of the show. Promises to be exciting as always. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Well, let me give you a quick rundown of what to expect on the show tonight while I wait for my partner, Austin Akman, to join in. Of course, in focus tonight will be the World Athletics Championship that will be taking place in Oregon in the United States. We will talk about Team Nigeria and take a look at the chances of Team Nigeria. Remember, we have just 9 medals at that championship since it started in 1983, 4 silver and 5 bronze. This is the total haul Nigeria has in the biennial athletics championship. So we'll see whether or not it will be better for Nigeria this time. Also, we'll talk about the WAFCON Women's African Cup of Nations, the Super Falcons of Nigeria through to the semi-finals, and by implication, have qualified for the FIFA Women's World Cup. We will talk about that as we move on the show. As we speak, South Africa are currently battling Tunisia for the last semi-final slot and the last slot for Africa at the FIFA Women's World Cup. As we move on the show, we'll look at football transfers and we'll also talk about pre-season for you on the show tonight. Let me quickly introduce my partner in the Lagos studio. Bolu Omoli joins us this lovely Thursday evening. Of course, he wasn't around on Thursday last week, not due to his fault. Anyway, but he's here. Bolu, greetings to you. Thanks for being here today.
Good to be again on this. At least one of the best Thursdays to be on the show. The day Super Falcons got to qualify. Yes, like I've told a few, performance still not so convincing, but it is far better than what we saw in the first game against South Africa. And some of us already saw the difference from day one. Luckily, Randy is also seeing a bit of the change, and they've done the first hurdle. Qualify for the World Cup. So let's see if they can win. Remember, I tell people that this could be deja vu, like 2018, lost by goal margin in the first game to South Africa, then boom, defeated the same South Africa in the final via penalty. It's looking like it now, because if when Nigeria beats Morocco, if South Africa wins, we'll meet in the final,
Well, it's looking like a typical Nigeria, ifs and what ifs. But then again, we know that sports is not like that. If and what ifs, doesn't really count. But I like the optimism, and winning is all that matters. All right, so let's move on the show. The CEO of Making of Champions, Bamba Koni, also joins us on a special night like this. Greetings to you, Bambo. Thanks for joining us on the show tonight.
Thank you, Yemi. Thanks for having me as always.
All right, let's just dive straight into it. It's our pleasure to have you on the show tonight, and of course, a good opportunity to talk about the World Athletics Championship that starts tomorrow. Of course, let's start from home. Charity begins at home. Team Nigeria. Talk to us about the chances of Team Nigeria. Equaling or doing, better than our previous outings at the World Champs.
Well, I arrived here in Eugene, Oregon last night. It's a sunny day here. And I think Nigeria's chances, really, it's along the lines of our chances of the last few World Championships and Olympics. Has really been about 2 individuals in particular for medals. Tobi Amusan in the 100-meter hurdles and Ese Brume in the women's long jump. Of course, Ese was 3rd in both the last Worlds in Doha and the Olympics. Tobi was 4th in the hurdles in both those events. She'll be desperate to be on the podium this time. She's ranked number 2 in the world this year, has run 12.41. The hurdles field is so steep. I think she'll be looking to run 12.3 and set another African record here to be in amongst the medals. And then obviously we hope that Ese Brume can, upgrade the bronze. But I think Team Nigeria in general, it's a new beginning, a new dawn for Team Nigeria. We have a lot of great athletes in the men and women's 100 meters, the 4x1 for both those teams. And we have a lot of other upcoming great athletes that will be on display in the mixed 4x4 men's 400-meter hurdles. So there's a lot to look forward to over the next 10 days for Team Nigeria.
In times past, you've always told me anytime we have this kind of discussion about your level of optimism and belief in the new crop of athletes that we have. But listening to you tonight, you don't seem quite optimistic about the chance, especially the team events like the relays,
Yeah.
4x100, 4x4, and the mixed relays
Mm.
as well. I mean, you just singled out two individuals you think can get on the podium. But what about those events
Yeah.
as well? Do you see us getting something from those events?
Well, I think ordinarily Nigeria should go into any championship with at least 5 medals targeted and 5 medals possible. But it's really unclear that our preparation has been strong enough to really warrant that. I mean, let's look at the relays. The men's 4x1 ran 38:35 at the Nigerian trials. I think the fastest they've run in almost 15 years. But they need to run 37 mid or 37 low to be on the podium. So the question is, have they been practicing? And we also know that one of the top athletes on that team, Alaba, is not going to be at these championships, unfortunately. So, we have those challenges, even on the women's side. Another top athlete that just switched allegiance to Nigeria, Ezine Abba, won't be at the championships either. So those teams can do well. I'd hope they both make the finals to be able to contest for medals. But I wouldn't want to put any pressure on them and say that they must win medals at this championship. In reality, Nigeria should be building those teams, including the mixed 4x4, and work on building those up to be medal contenders seriously next year and at the Olympics in 2 years' time.
Bamba, stay with us. Austin is about to join us, but let's quickly take a look at the list of athletes that Nigeria will be taking to the championship. And as we look at those names, I'm very sure the fans, the viewers, will look at some of those names and say, okay, Bamba, what about this one? What about this one? Can this one's get us something? So let's just quickly take a look at that list. There you have it. Women's long jump, Ese Brume, Ruth Osoro. For the women's 100 meters hurdle, I mean, Bamba's already talked about this one, Tobi Amusho. All right. Women's 100 meters, Favor of Ili, Grace Nwokocha, Rosemary Shukuma. For the women's 200, you also have Favor Ofili, Grace Nwokocha. Women's triple jump, Ruth Uzoro in the mix. Women's discus throw, Chioma Onyekwere in there. Women's 4x100 meters relay pool, Tobi Amusha, Rosemary Chukuma, Grace Nwokocha, Favor of Ofili, Joy Chineye, Udo, Gabriel. Mixed 4x400 meter as relay pool. Marabong Uko, Patience Okon George, Knowledge Omovo, Samson Nathaniel, Sikiru Adeyemi, Dubeb, Amene. That's the guys in there. Let's look at men's shot put. I mean, this is a name a lot of people would say, well, Bambo, I mean, this guy should get in the mix. Chukwuebuka Enekwechi for the men's shot puts. Men's 100 meters, Favor Ashe, Udodi Owozurike, Raymond Akevo. For the men's 400 meters hurdles, Ezekiel Nathaniel, it's in the men's 4x100 meters relay pool. You have Favor, Udodi Wozurike, Raymond Akevo, Godson Brume, Uchereche, it's Shakiri. Those are the names in there. Before I yield the floor to my partner, Austin Konakman, who is ready to go. Baba, let me ask you again, after reading out those names, are you having a rethink, a change of mind as to some of these other guys who may end up on the podium? May. I mean, I'm using that word.
What I'll say is this: I like to take a long-term view. We're about to enter a golden generation, I think,
Yes.
for Nigerian athletics over the next decade. With these kids and the NCAA, most of them in their early 20s, will dominate Nigerian track for the next 10 years. So I want to temper expectations. I think that a lot of them can make the finals of the events. If they do make the finals, that should be considered success and progress. So people like Devo Philly should be in the final of the women's 200. People like Nathaniel Ezekiel, I think he's ninth fastest in the world this year in 400-meter hurdles. He could sneak into the final of the 400-meter hurdles. And then, yeah, sure, once you're in the final, anything is possible. We have the likes of the new Nigerian men's champion, Favor Ashe, who obviously was discovered and trained by Making of Champions before he moved to University of Tennessee this year. Ran 999 at the trials. With the 999, he could also sneak into the final, right? But we shouldn't put too much pressure on these kids. For many of them, it's the first World Championships. For a few of them, like Devo Philly, it's the second. And we should, yes, hope and pray that they can make it onto the podium. but celebrate them. Even if they make the semifinals, for some, it's a success. The finals for others will be a huge success.
All right. Okay, so let's bring in Austin Okonakman, who's ready to go. Austin, there's a lot to talk about, but we have to get athletics out of the way first. Greetings to you. It's good to do this with you, as always.
Spotty greetings to you, Yemi. Good to be on the show. Shout out to everyone joining us from different parts of the world. Let me quickly just get to Bambo since he's already, sprinting away so we don't lose him. Bambo, whenever we're preparing for a big athletics competition, there is some sort of drama that comes with it. Team Nigeria and our preparations this time around, different story.
Well, I mean, the preparation. Let's see what happens. Starting from tomorrow, there have been some hiccups. I mentioned just now a couple of the sprinters couldn't make the team, reportedly because they didn't have enough of the out of competition tests, which are required for all of our athletes because Nigeria is a Category A country when it comes to the anti-doping regulations. So this is something we would have hoped that, after the Olympics last year, when 10 athletes were disqualified after getting to Tokyo, that we wouldn't see again. It's happened to a couple of the athletes. I think it's really unclear as to who's really responsible, what's the reason that it's happened again. But obviously, we don't want to see this happening. Someone like Alaba qualified in the 100, 200, 4x1. He is at the peak of his career. He should not be missing moments and opportunities like this. Ezine Abba just switched to Nigeria. It just got confirmed, and the first thing she has to do is announce that she's not going to be at the World Championships. So these kind of administrative issues, we just need to sort them out as a country. If we talk about entering a golden generation with these athletes' performance, we need to be able to match that and not really disappoint and dash the hopes of these kids.
I know, because if you take a look at it, there are actually some good prospects that we can look at from this World Championships and then monitor them at the Commonwealth Games. And with proper preparation, we can say, we might just have someone get to the podium at the Paris 2024 Olympics. But that's if we do the right things. Let's talk about prospects. I know when you talk about Toby Amushong, no surprise. Ese Brume, no surprise. But I love the progress Favor of Philly is making. Ruth Osara is another good one. What would you want to put in that mix that we should look forward to?
Prospects, I would say, stars to look out for, potential finalists. Favor Philly, definitely. She's the first Nigerian ever to run under 22 seconds in the 200 meters. Took that African record, and I think she was second in the NCAA. So she's a future star. She's a current star for Nigeria. You mentioned Ruth Osoro. She'll be going in both the long jump and triple jump. I think she's done a personal best of around 670 in the long jump this year, which is incredible. That will get you into any world final, most likely. So, yes, we can look out for her as well. And I mentioned before Nathaniel Ezekiel, and then obviously Nigeria's current fastest man, Favor Ashe, having run 999, can he do it again? Can he build that consistency? So these are some of the starlets that I think will be announcing themselves to the world at this championship and beyond.
All right, Bamba, let me just quickly butt in. We're pressed for time. Let me just throw this in. We'll talk about Nigeria, but let's look at it globally now. What are those interesting matchups that we should look forward to? I'm already thinking about the 100 meters. Andre DeGrasse just said, okay, I'm doing 100, I'm doing 200. So I'm thinking maybe him and Marcel Jacobs, that would be interesting to see those kind of matchups. I'm also interested in seeing Modo Duplantis as well. I mean, to see if he could keep breaking his own records. But, I mean, what areas do you think we're going to see those kind of rivalries?
Yeah, I mean, I think the events that really excite me, as always, are the sprints. But you have to look at the women's sprints particularly and wonder how close are these girls going to get to the world records in the 100 meters and 200 meters. The three Jamaicans, Ellen Thompson, Hera, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, and Sharika Jackson, trading places with each other, It's difficult to predict who's going to win the 100, but you can predict that they will get very close to the long-standing 10.49 world record. Same thing with the 200. Sharika Jackson winning the Jamaican trials with 21.55, the third fastest time in history. It's anybody's guess who will win those races. And then when you add the likes of USA Abby Steiner to the mix in the 200, Nigeria Civil Philly, then anything can happen in the final. For the men's 100, I think it's a bit more open. The Americans will always be there and thereabouts. The likes of Fred Curley, in the form of his life at the moment. We'd love to see the Africans in the mix, the likes of Simbine and Omayanla. Hopefully they arrive on time. We've heard a lot of controversies about the visa issues for athletes all over the world coming to these championships. And then, when you look at the field events, you've got to say, yes, Duplantis will, set another world record here. The men's short put is so deep. Are they going to go out to the world record, the top 2 or 3 guys? We haven't even mentioned Chukwu Ebuka Enekwechi for Nigeria, now a constant finalist in the Worlds and Olympics, more or less, in the short put. He will have a task on his hand to be in amongst the medals. So there's a lot to look forward to, I think, on the global stage, kicking off from tomorrow.
All right. Let's also, since you're there, let's talk about how ready the city is. You just talked about challenges. We're reading a lot. You talked about Omayala. We hear he should be on a plane now. Should be arriving anytime soon. But you're there. How does it feel? What the buzz? You're already feeling the buzz. What's it like ahead of a major athletics championship?
Well, it's exciting. It's exciting just kind of moving around and speaking to the locals. You can tell that they're excited about it. This location, Hayward Field, was completely refurbished for these championships. So my Lyft drive on the way here was telling me that it used to be just a field. It wasn't a stadium until 1 or 2 years ago. So there's a lot of excitement, I think, in the air for these championships. I think the visa issues, hopefully, most of those have been averted now. But it's something for, I think, the organizers and USA to figure out for future events to make sure that athletes are not fretting about their visas 1 or 2 days before the championship.
All right, Bamba Koni, I want to thank you for your time on the show tonight. Hopefully we get to speak to you again as the tournament continues.
Thanks as always.
All right, that's our friend Bambo Akoni. Saying a lot of things about the athletics championship. Bolu, let me bring you in before we go on a break. I think we have barely a minute. What do you expect from Team Nigeria? Let's not talk about the problems. The problems are always there. Austin asked us if we could go to any championship without any drama before going. I don't know if that can happen, but what are your expectations?
Well, I think first of those things could probably be part of these distractions for the team, but of all those things, there has to be somewhere to let these guys know you have what it takes. And like what Bambo has said, we have guys that can hit the final. And in finals, anything can happen. We saw a final of athletics that Usain Bolt of all people got disqualified for false start. So in finals like it's not Olympics that you have the second chance. In the final like this, when you miss it once, you're out. And some can call it favor for you if the best, in quotes, in the team gets eliminated. So if they hit semi-final and hit finals, anything can happen. Enekwechi will probably try to get what he couldn't get at the Olympic Games. But from the Olympics, getting to the final, he made a statement for himself. So I think we have quality to go far in this tournament, but everybody obviously will be expecting the likes of Ese Brume and to be emotional, like he said, to get to the podium. And there's nothing stopping them. I was having discussion with some guys that hurdle is one of the toughest you can ever do. Running alone is a problem. Then jumping and coming down, and we have one of the best in that category in the world. So we should expect something at least from the short put or hurdle and the long jump. We can still pick something. And in races, if we hit the final, we can shock the world.
All right. So let's leave it at that. I don't want to get ahead of myself. We need to go on a break right about now. When we return from that break, we're going to take a global perspective to the World Athletics Championship. What are the top stars saying? Austin will take us through all of that. First, let's go on that break and we return for more on Sports Tonight. All right, welcome back. Well, as you know, the World Athletics Championship is not just about Nigeria, so we have to take a global perspective and look at what all the top stars are saying. All right, I'll see. A lot of them have been speaking. It will be interesting to hear from a lot of them. We've thoroughly exhausted, issues on our expectations from Nigerian athletes, and I guess it's time to listen to the global stars.
That's right, because it's the World Championship. So the top guys are also, looking forward to this one. I want to see what Duplantis can do because he is the top world record breaker. I'm also looking forward to seeing what Castin Warholm can also do. He shocked the world during the Olympics. Andre de Grasse has been proving to us that he's a force to reckon with. So let's listen to some of these top stars talk about the expectations for the World Championship, and I'll come back. We'll give a broader perspective to everything that he talked about. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Of course, you want to run some races to get some confidence. But on the other hand, confidence is not my problem. So it's gonna be challenging in the sense of I don't know what I can bring to the table. But I know for sure that all the training until the injury happened was very, very good. And, I can measure myself towards all the benchmarks we have in training. And when I compare that, it looks very good.
Isn't best, so every race I'm just chipping away. But I know this track is fast. I've been here. I've had a lot of good experiences here, winning NCAAs, running fast times here. So I feel like it'll come. I just try not to, overthink it and think about the pressure. Just go out there, relax, have fun, and the race will come to me.
Yeah, I would say it's been pretty chill. As far as like the whole Stockholm meet, I guess it kind of proved to myself and I guess everybody else that I'm in pretty good shape right now. And I know that I can jump really high. And I guess the timing is really good building up to, what we have now, the World Championships. So, it's been nice. And, after a big jump like that, things can get a little bit hectic. So it's been nice to be able to come back home and just kind of relax and get back to training before, the big dance.
So that's it. Top athletes talking about the World Championships. Armando Duplantis. Bolu, that guy if you give him a pole vault, he can jump over the world. I'm super confident he will come to Oregon and do his thing.
Pole vault is one of the sports you ask yourself, why are we not so good at it in Nigeria? At least we don't have to jump. I remember when we were younger, if your ball goes to the next compound, you find a way to jump and skip around it. But I'm sure when we started to have talent, pole vault is one of the you can call it risky sports. I tell people that it's one of probably the things on the bucket list because no fear of your pole will break or something flying over. No, then we have people who are very, very good at it. You can listen to their optimism that we want to win is the most important thing and get there, give your best, do so well. I hope we have the same ginger, have the same confidence. Sometimes when you know you are going to lose, but at least inspire yourself. Give yourself hope that we'll get there. And is there anything new to ask for Andre de Grasse? There's nothing new because we know what he has. We know what he can achieve. Sometimes if you don't want to follow these events, when you hear the athletes talk about what they want to produce, about the performance, the atmosphere they're expecting, you have no choice but to follow. Well, at least those of us not in Oregon now will probably pinch Bambo Akoni to give us a full update. So can't wait to see video clips of this event, and hopefully Nigerians will be part of those that will succeed there.
That's right, and we need to learn whenever we go to this sort of competition so that we look at what the other countries are doing and see ways that we can get better. Because if it's for the talent, we do have the talent, but something is just missing. Me, I remember at the 2014 Commonwealth Games, Andre de Grasse struggled at that competition. Today, Andre de Grasse is a force to reckon with when you talk about running on the track. So you see, Canada probably made him a long-term project. You can tell the difference from 2014 to 2022. In fact, when Usain Bolt was around, we still have our eyes fixed on the grass. Those are pure stories of what you sow is what you reap.
Yeah, in Nigeria, the problem is we celebrate those guys when they win, and once they lose or they start having problem, we distance ourselves from them. I mean, you just look at Blessing Okagare's case. You're not hearing anybody say anything. You're not hearing the AFA. You're just like, look, this is someone who has represented you. And why did I bring that?
They'll say it's a problem.
You see, you talk about the grass. He's had his issues. But those guys stood with him. They stood with him. I mean, you talked about making it a long-term project. If it is only when people succeed that we want to associate with them, and when they have problems, we just throw the baby with the bathwater, we're going to have problems. And I don't want to get into issues with administrators. That's our problem. That's the bane in Nigeria. Talent has never been the issues. And it's painful because if you follow the Olympics, for instance, you look at countries that were behind us as far back as 1992 in Barcelona. All of them are ahead of us now. I mean,
you struggle now.
I don't know what Jamaica did. They just, I mean, out of the blue, they're ahead of us. I mean, United States, well, they've always been ahead of us. United States, United Kingdom. I mean, even in Africa, we're not as dominant as we used to be. So I guess we need to start investing more and looking long term. And if we do that, we're going to have stories like this. And just quickly let our viewers know that we're going to be involved in hammer throw tomorrow. We're going to be involved in 4x4 100 women's relay. All the best to our athletes that will be involved in that one. Guys, we can go on and on if we want to continue talking about the world champs, but we have other things to do on the show. I mean, a big day for Nigeria in Morocco today, Austin, we must say. Usually we don't celebrate things like this, but because we lost the first game, we are celebrating this. Again, if you have not heard, I doubt that anyway. But again, if you have not heard, Nigeria Super Falcons have qualified for the FIFA Women's World Cup, and they are also through to the semi-final of the WAFCON, the Women's African Cup of Nations, courtesy of a 1-0 victory. And that's it on your screen. Over Cameroon, Rashidat Ajibade stepped up, got the goal for Nigeria. And also in the second quarterfinal match of the day, South Africa currently leading. They're playing against Tunisia. The game is live. And so that's it. We already know who we're facing in the semi-finals. Bolo already alluding to it. It's already telling us if we beat this one, if we beat that one. I guess I'll just take it one game at a time for now. But Bolu, how relieved were you that we're able to get past Cameroon today?
Well, my fears before the game were obvious about the pace, the energy of the girls. But for energy, obviously, or not, maybe he has that. But for the pace, she does it. But I think as much as I criticized Thomas Deneby playing players off position, playing players I think shouldn't be there. This time around, I like that he swapped Ohali and Onome playing on the left, Ohali playing on the right. So she could match up the energy and the pace from those on the left, from the Cameroonians. Nothing much was coming from the right side of their attack. So Plumter had enough luxury to sometimes go forward and retreat backwards. But on the defensive side, Ohali was solid all through the game. But from our midfield, I think another plus we need to give to Deneby was not starting Rita Chikwelu. Randy Wardrobe. Because not starting Chikwelu helped solidity, helped strength, helped pace in the middle of the park for them, for Chebi to Okobi to Rashidat Ajibade. Three of them had kind of a synergy in the middle for them. Yes, we still have a bit of maybe worry up front, but they dominated all through the game. It was difficult. We had players who were facing their teammates. Onomonu was facing her teammates in defense. And the goalkeeper for Cameroon also plays. She is NWFL champion for Bayelsa United. So, Bayelsa Queen. It was a beautiful game all through. Better performance for me. We didn't score as much as we did against Botswana and Burundi. But against a tougher opposition, I think they played better than they did in those previous games. Now, Nigerians are relieved because if you qualify for the World Cup, remember before now, if you qualify from the group stages, you're already at the World Cup. But now it's a different ball game entirely. And 4 of the top 6 teams in Africa will not even be at the World Cup. So qualifying is one hurdle close. The next is to see if they can do well, do enough to win the tournament. But at least the fact that they've qualified for the World Cup, it means there's enough time to plan ahead of the next tournaments come next year in Australia and New Zealand.
All right. I mean, I'm very sure Austin has his thoughts as well. But people are beginning to say, I mean, we'll take a win. I mean, I heard it from Alfred last week. I heard it yesterday from Damilola. At any tournament, you take a win over performance. It doesn't matter. And I didn't think there would be a day I would say this, but I can tell you that I'm relieved we won.
Yeah, I mean, what I want us to do is to appreciate the growth of women's football in Africa. That's what people are not seeing. People are just expecting that when the Super Falcons file out against Botswana, it should end 8-0, 9-0. Those days are gone. Countries are beginning to do more for women's football in Africa. I tell you, Botswana, for instance, people didn't know how difficult that game was for the Super Falcons, but they used character and experience to win that one. When you go back to see what Botswana did against Morocco, you would understand that they were in this championship to prove a point. If you also check how Morocco has been playing, you will know that it is a testament to the investment that they've done for women's football. That 4-year plan that they rolled out in 2020, it's already showing they've qualified for the World Cup. Zambia has also qualified for the World Cup for the first time. Things are changing with women's football in Africa. So people should appreciate the Super Falcons when they do so much with little and with the pressure of being the team to beat. That's big deal, Yemi. And that's why when they came out against Cameroon today, I told people to be careful with their expectations. Cameroon drew their first 2 matches. Cameroon couldn't beat debutant Togo. It was the Super Falcons. We will not hear the list of it. Cameroon couldn't beat Togo. Cameroon couldn't beat Zambia. They had to put themselves together to win Tunisia. Now, beating Tunisia, they knew that they were coming to meet the Super Falcons. Now, they were just to do everything that they could to make sure that they advanced. So that tells you how difficult today's game would have turned out. But the Super Falcons did what they did. Don't forget, this team still trying to adjust without Asisat Oshoala. I love the way Rashida Ajibade is turning up. I love the way they are playing as a team, how they are fighting for the ball, but they are being careful. And if you tell, they're being so careful because they are scared of making mistakes. They thought that was what went wrong against South Africa. So this time, I would say I'll take a win and good performance that we push them all the way till they get that record-breaking 10th title. Yeah.
All right, La Decima. Okay. All right, let's keep dreaming,
right.
and hopefully our dreams will come true. Austin, I think you do us the honors. Take us through CAF's short list now for the Young Player of the Year, Club of the Year. I mean, those short lists. I don't know whether you're surprised or not, but of course, from your comments, I'll know. So you can quickly take us through that list as we talk about, of course, whether or not we're surprised.
You know, we talked about this when CAF first announced it, and we're like, you mean of all of the short lists, we had about only 2 or 3. I said it on the show then that I know we will not be in the final short list. So it's all good. This sort of thing should push our leaders, administrators of football in the country to find a way to step up with these guys. Let's take a look at Player of the Year women. And Dile Dlamini of South Africa and Mamelodi Sundowns. Bambanina Mbane of South Africa and Mamelodi Sundowns. When you look at the country and the club, then you understand. And then there's Christina Tembe Gatlana, same South Africa and Atletico winner. Player of the Year women, Ajara Njoya, you saw her today against the Super Falcons. She did what she could, but it wasn't just good enough. Evelyn Badu of Ghana, Doris Boadua, Ghana, Zilane Chibak of Morocco, Asisat Oshoala, definitely of Nigeria, and Barcelona women's team in that list. Young Player of the Year women, Evelyn Badu of Ghana, Doris Badua of Ghana, Yasmin Zuhi of Morocco. Monday Gifts, Eva showed good potential, plays for Rivers Angels, right there in the Nigeria Women's League. She's also in that list. Flourish Sebastian, Nigeria, and Bayelsa Queens also in that list. Club of the Year women, Mamelodi Sundowns, South Africa, Sekondi Sakas of Ghana, AS FAR of Morocco, Malabo Kings of Equatorial Guinea, and Rivers Angels of Nigeria. I was just saying in my head that they should just give Rivers Angels. Let's smile. Antile Dlamini of Mamelodi Sundowns, Interclub Player of the Year women, Bambanani Mbani of Mamelodi Sundowns, and Disiwe Makoi of Mamelodi Sundowns, Evelyn Badu, Doris Boadua, and then Islani Chebak of AS FAR. Interclub Player of the Year women, Sana Misodi of ASFA, Fatma Taganut, Rose Bella of Malabo Kings, among the gifts of Rivers Angels and FC Robo Queens. So that's it. Yemi, again, the women giving us reasons to mention Nigeria. You know the case for the men, but I think we should look beyond our words and say to ourselves, if South Africa is coming out too often, Morocco coming out, we see Ghana also, then it means they're doing something. And that confirms what I told you about the growth of women's football in Africa.
Yeah, I mean, somebody I respect. I think I mentioned this last week, and you've alluded to that as well. I'm going to shift. I'm going to shift to Bolu shortly, but you see, the point is, we are not doing enough, and we've always hidden behind the fact that we always find ways to win. And so when the Super Falcons win, and you try to criticize the administrators for not doing enough, they say you're a spoiled sport. Even if we win this tournament, we're still not doing enough. I commend the efforts of the organizers of the league. It can, and it still could be better. But in spite of the circumstances they are faced with, I must admit that they're doing a good job. But it can be better. Yeah. And of course, the NFF has to do more. These other countries are catching up. Some of them don't even rely on foreign-based players. Some of them rely on what they have in their domestic leagues. And we're seeing how difficult it is, even for, we say we are the best in Africa, and a Nigerian club side can win the women's league.
The CAF Women's Champions League.
You don't understand? So I hope the ones that will represent us this time will prove us wrong and say the first one was a fluke. But let me go to Bolu quickly. I mean, what can we say to the administrators that we have not already said?
I think they know. The question is, do they want to do it or not? Because I don't think there's any administrator in Nigeria that have not been to at least one major tournament. You see how things are run for leagues, for cup competitions and everything. For now, we don't even know what we're doing with the FA Cup in the NPFL. So we need to do things right. When people say confidently that everyone is catching up, I say they are catching up because we are not doing the right things. Looking at individual quality of players, we are still miles ahead of every other African country in terms of the quality of the players. But football is beyond the quality you have. If you don't do the right things off the field and even on the field, you will suffer. And that's why the Super Falcons are where they are today. For example, the best player for South Africa is Gatlana. She doesn't even start for Atletico Madrid. Ajibade doesn't start all the time, but Ajibade starts ahead of her. And when you're calling the best player for Falcons, you mention Ajibade. And Gatlana is the king or the queen in South Africa. But they are doing the right things. They've kept Desiree Ellis for a long time. She has planned those girls so much that someone said Bayana will probably challenge Bafana to a football game and maybe win. So we need to find ways to do these things rightly, because I still told some guys that it feels like Super Falcons is turning to Super Eagles. That anything that plays abroad is better than everything in the local league. Falcons' success was based on the players. I'm not saying don't call those abroad if they are the best. But how many players in the NWFL are even in the Falcons team? The best player, Monday Gift, got a minute to play today. And remember, Monday Gift was not even in the initial 30-man list until she scored 9 of Bayelsa Queens 11 goals in the Super 6, and people started challenging, you need to take this talent. That's why she's there. So we need to do these things right. Austin say it all the time. Many people say it all the time. Talent is never a problem. Bring in any sport into Nigeria today, we will get you the talent for it. But if we don't do the right things, I was on the show here one day when Aaron Okodu was talking about the things he's facing. I was here when Agumbi did the Paralympian table tennis, talked about the things he was facing. He was still using the things he used 20 years ago, when young athletes are using modern day equipment. So until we do these things right, we make it will be almost. Look at the last WAFCON, for example. We did not semi-final against Cameroon penalties. The final against South Africa penalties. We lost the opening game against penalty. We won. We all celebrated. To me, I say it is 11th. Officially, they are saying it's 9th. We got the title, but has there been any change over 4 years? No. So even if we end up winning this one, it still wouldn't take away the problems we have. And if we don't sort it out, in a few years, Falcons may not even make the semi-final.
Ouch! When you landed that way, I felt it, Bolu. I felt it, but it is what it is. It is what you sow, you reap. Because if we say Monday Gift is a good player, and you put her side by side with a player that plays in South Africa, you could tell that the difference in their quality is the league where they play. It's as simple as that. When you put some of our players side by side with some of these other players in Africa, we just hope that administrators will see these things as constructive criticism and take them, find a way to give long-term planning to women's football so we can get better. Let's go on a quick break now. Sports Tonight on Channels Television. Let's go on this break. When we come back, there's still so much more to talk about, so don't go anywhere. Stay. Welcome back, Sports Tonight on Channels Television. We're taking a look at what's going on, particularly with women's football in Africa, the Super Falcons. Just in case you don't know, let me tell you, they've qualified for the Women's World Cup. The Super Falcons, unstoppable, 9-time African champions. And of course, they are looking for the 10th title right there in Morocco. Let's give the team all the support that they need, wish them well, and then hopefully they're going to, get what they deserve. We also talked about the short list for the CAF Awards. Some Nigerians here and there, but analysts have said, look, we should be doing better as a country. I totally agree. Let's keep that conversation going on Twitter, channels_sports, Facebook, where channels-sports. Let's talk sports for the love of the game. Let's talk about the transfers. Bolu, it's silly season. On Tuesday, we're talking about players leaving their former clubs and then going back. And then I gave the case of Lukaku leaving Inter Milan, going to Chelsea, and then returning to Inter Milan. Pogba leaving Juve, going to Manchester United. Now he's back at Juventus. Dembele back to Barcelona.
Well, in Dembele's case, there was so much noise as if he was going to leave. That's what. There was a time Xavi almost kicked him out of Barcelona if he wasn't going to sign. So everybody thought, he wanted to go out on a free. There's so much drama, only for the young man to sign a 2-year deal. And I'm here asking myself, what was the drama all about? But then again, if we want to focus our lens on Barcelona properly, that's a club in real trouble. They have to offload players to be able to buy players. They have to beg some of their top stars to take away. I'm pretty surprised he decided to stay.
Barcelona in a mess. He's not saying anything. He's keeping quiet. If Barcelona were in England, maybe they would have. Remember what they did to Derby County?
Yeah.
Chelsea would have faced a similar fate if Todd Bowley and the company didn't step up. So I think Barcelona need to sort all this problem, because imagine a La Liga without Barcelona. It means Real Madrid will probably just go on a jolly ride.
All right, so that's interesting. We'll see whether Barcelona still has that, allure that makes players want to go to the club. All right, Austin, we're close to the finish line, but let's talk some pre-season football. Liverpool and Crystal Palace getting set for friendly in Singapore. And of course, English Premier League clubs are well loved, especially in Asia, especially now that you have some Asian players in the English Premier League. So, Jurgen Klopp, after getting his hands burnt with that 4-0 defeat at the hands of Manchester United, will want to get this one, get things on the right track.
And with football fans, they can understand if you lose to Manchester United, but if anything happens against Crystal Palace, they will totally forget that it's pre-season, And so Liverpool, they will use this one to see how to bounce back from that defeat to Manchester United in Bangkok. And then for Jurgen Klopp and his team, they love going to Singapore. I think in the last 3 or 4 years, they've always been going to Singapore for pre-season. So this is a place where they are loved, and they also love coming here. You can see from the picture, the kids already, looking forward to having the players right there in Singapore. It's pre-season. When you start hearing all of these things, we're getting ready for the new season. Let's take a listen to some of the talking points from this Liverpool and Crystal Palace pre-season game that will take place in Singapore.
All right, Austin, I think because of time, we might not be able to take that. We're pressed for time. We are almost being told to go out of the studio, but we won't go out just yet. Bolu, before we go, parting words from you. Do you think Liverpool now has the squad that can compete for this season, or they still need to get one or two players?
Well, remember, there's a more like a direct sub money for Darwin Nunes. He needs to adapt. Probably this is one of the reasons that they have to keep Salah. You stay. Mane is gone. We need to build around the game. But I still think they need a magic in the midfield. Their midfielders are not
Thiago doesn't cut it.
Yeah, Thiago is more like a deep line playmaker, but I think they need more. If Keita was fit enough all through, maybe the talent of Keita, but I still think they need magic in the midfield. For example, Man City has a De Bruyne. Man United are chasing Eriksen. Chelsea are looking for something similar. So to do that, you need the likes of the Modric kind of magic, because if you don't have it, you may have problem also. Because when the magic is coming from the wings and there's one problem, you need someone in the midfield to sort it out.
All right, that's a good place to leave it. Bolo Mali, I want to thank you for your time today.
That was a pleasure.
Hopefully we'll do this again some other time.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, before we go, let's take you back to Morocco and see what is happening in that game. I think it's about half-time now. South Africa and Tunisia. A quick confirmation of that is still a goal to South Africa. That's it on your screen. It is live. South Africa leading Tunisia by a goal. And of course, Nigeria won the other quarterfinal earlier, and they're through to the semifinals and also qualifying for the FIFA Women's World Cup. That's the show today. We do hope that you've enjoyed everything we've been able to bring to you. We also hope it was worth your while. We'll be back here again tomorrow, one more edition for the week. We'll do our best to take you on a trip across the money spinning an exciting world of sports. From the city of Lagos, right here in Nigeria, I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.
I know Nigerians were saying, go Tunisia, go, for the love of the game against South Africa. In London, I'm Austin Okonakpan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.